So it is that time. Last week, if you were paying attention to my channel, I did a community post where I was asking for your input. I told you guys that for this week, going into next week, I'm going to be doing top 10 week, where I'm going to be doing top 10 lists every single day. And I wanted your input as to what those videos were going to be themed around. I know I got like 40 or so answers, and so I'm going to try to pick and choose the best one. So if I don't get yours, I will use it at some point. So I am going to use all of the answers. It's just I'm not going to be able to do it probably all this week because it's 40 some videos and I can't get that many in. With that said, I already did pick the first 5 that I am going to be recording today. And the first one is something that I actually was talking to my wife the other day, and she said, you should do a video about that. And that is top 10 fragrances that I am going to be repurchasing because I like them so much. So 10 fragrances I'm definitely going to be rebuying. So that's what we're talking about today. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude. Thanks so much for joining me for yet another top 10 video where I'm going to be going through, again, I don't really like doing top 10 lists like a lot of other channels do every single day all year round, because I just feel it's a moot point. Because if I'm giving you my honest top 10, it's going to be the same. Outside of seasonal, it's going to be the same. And so outside of that, there might be certain categories like top 10 for going to the beach or something. I can understand. But this time, I talked to you guys a few weeks ago on my live stream, and you said I should do some top 10 videos. And so that's what we're going to be doing, top 10 week. So over the next 8 to 10 days of videos, I'm going to be going through and doing some of your chosen themes for my top 10 week. But before I get into the first one, make sure to hit that like. Also, if you're not already, hit the subscribe. It only takes 2 seconds to do that. Thank you so much. And then also comment below. Let me know what some of the fragrances that you will be repurchasing that are some of your favorites. So again, I'll pin the comment for whoever asked me to do this up there. And so they wanted me to do 10 fragrances or top 10 fragrances that I definitely will be repurchasing, that I will be rebuying. Obviously, because they are some of my favorites in my collection. If you've been a part of the channel for a while, you are already going to be familiar with pretty much all of these because, again, I am me, and so I like what I like, and there's certain fragrances that I mention all the time that I'm definitely going to be repurchasing, and for specific reasons, not really, just because I really like them. The first one being, if you saw in the thumbnail, this is by Chanel. It's Allure Homme Edition Blanche, or Edition Blanche. This is, so I could have picked a lot of the Chanels, preferably the Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, the original Chanel, which has that peach note. But this one, my wife bought it for my birthday 2 years ago in 2022. I always wanted to try it, and then I finally got it, and it's exactly what you would expect. It's a Allure Homme Sport performing fragrance, so 4 to 5 hours, not much, just like the rest of them outside of the EDT. But it's the smell. The smell is like this lemon cream pie mixed together with the Allure Homme DNA built underneath it. It's absolutely beautiful. I always say it like this, and I'll do it again. It starts out with a ton of lemon, and literally it's like lemon and musk, and then all of a sudden you start getting the vanilla, a little bit of a floral tone, and a little bit of this woody creaminess. And they start coming in after about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then it starts to level out. And then after about 45 minutes to an hour, the lemon starts to go underneath. And that is where you get, again, that kind of woody, creamy tone mixed together with a slight bit of like a creamy white floral. But it's not a floral fragrance at all. It's, again, like a lemon cream pie mixed together with the Allure Homme Sport DNA, and that is all you really need to know. It is absolutely fantastic. The lemon in it's very high quality. The vanilla is very beautiful. The tonka bean provides a bit of powder, And then it's musky and woody on the outside of the fragrance, kind of encompassing the whole thing. Very, very beautiful, nice and creamy, not too powdery, and absolutely love it. It's a staple in my collection, absolutely. But again, the drawback is the performance. This fragrance is a spring and summer fragrance, but you can wear it all year round because of the vanilla that's in it. But that's Allure Homme Edition Blanche, and I'm actually, if you can hear that, I am almost out of the fragrance, so that's one of the ones I'm already going to be picking up very soon. This one I don't need to pick up very soon because I have 3 bottles of it and it's discontinued, even though you can still find it. It was the fragrance that got me started on my channel. Like, I wish that it wasn't discontinued, but I had about 20 fragrances when I first found this. There was a survey site called BizAgent, and they sent me this and YSL Y EDT for the first time. I tried both, and it's literally what made me want to become a reviewer. But this is Azzaro's Wanted by Night. And I do want to say, this entire line, well, let's say Most Wanted and Most Wanted Parfum, and this one, those are the 3 that are going to be constant rebuys for me as long as they're still available. I have 2 of the Most Wanted, I have 2 of the Most Wanted Parfum, and I have 3 of this. Well, this is the 3rd one, and as you can tell, it's almost gone. So Azzaro's Wanted by Night. This one is just an absolutely beautiful cinnamon-based fragrance. It's cinnamon and amberwood really at its core. And then at certain parts of the fragrance, you can notice a little bit of tobacco. You can notice a little bit of like a dry, dark, fruity tone. A little bit of extra spices lingering underneath. But for the most part, this is kind of like a semi-fruity, cinnamon ambery fragrance. And it smells absolutely fantastic. It is my wife's favorite fragrance, and it is my favorite fragrance to wear during the fall, winter, and spring. It's not really one that you can wear in the fall, in the summer, but I mean, wear what you like, depends on where you live. Where I live, sometimes in the summer at night, it gets to like 60 or so, which this fragrance would be fine for. But yeah, cinnamon, amberwood, dried fruits, a little bit of tobacco. It's a very, very, very nice fragrance. And if anybody hasn't tried this, I recommend trying it. I always say there's another fragrance, Spicebomb Night Vision Eau de Parfum. It's almost like if you took Invictus and mix it together with this. So if you like that fragrance, you will like this fragrance. That's just my opinion, but that's Wanted by Night. And then Most Wanted is more of a gourmand night out fragrance that has toffee, cardamom, amberwood, very beautiful. And then you have the one that's more on the bourbon, vanilla, and ginger side, which is the Parfum, and all 3 of them are fantastic. Going to the next one, this is going to be the first niche on my list, and it's probably my favorite tobacco fragrance out there. And I know some people might call me boring because there's a lot of other like higher quality tobacco fragrances, but I don't really care. This one gets me more compliments than anything I can even think of. This is Parfums de Marley Herod, and this is a 3-year-old bottle, so I don't know about the performance on any of the new ones, but what I get is 7 hours with this fragrance. This is, again, my older batch. I do have a decan of one of the newer ones, but I didn't see very bad performance from that. Some people have just been saying it's been getting less and less. With that said, what is Parfums de Marley Herod about? It's a moist tobacco mixed together with this kind of like cinnamon spice black pepper, and then underneath it, I don't even think it might be in the note breakdown, but it's almost like a honeyed amber. You get this kind of like sweet and resinous tone that mixes together with that moist tobacco. And I always say, I hate the word moist, but it is kind of almost like a wet tobacco. It doesn't feel like a dry, leafy tobacco in this fragrance, but it has this really nice, mass appealing, sweet and resinous tone that mixes together with the tobacco to almost make it smell like a Swisher Sweet. If you know what I mean, it has like the Swisher Sweets. I have like that almost sweet tobacco smell to them. That's kind of what this one does. It's a very, very beautiful tobacco fragrance, and it's a very nice introductory niche. So if you're somebody who's more designers or small collection, not really into niche, this is going to be one that you can really pick up at a decent, affordable price compared to other niche fragrances out there. And I mean, it smells great and it's very mass appealing, so it's not going to be something that you're going to have to wear for personal enjoyment. But yeah, that's Parfums de Marley Herod. Very, very nice. Going to the next one, this is my most complimented fragrance of all time, not just by my wife, but by everybody. And so obviously this is going to make the list. I'm not even close to being out of it, but I can't really see inside the bottle. I'm going to guess at least halfway. This is YSL Y Le Parfum. YSL Y Le Parfum. It's my favorite designer blue fragrance. Always has been, always will be. It beats out all the Bleu de Chanel's. It beats out all the Dior Sauvages. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Dior Sauvage. But out of the big three blue brands, this is my favorite. It always has. My daughter is obsessed with this fragrance. Every time I wear it, she's like, that's my favorite fragrance. My wife loves it. Every time I wear it, she gives me a compliment. Every time I go to work with this, I get at least 10 to 15 compliments. If I'm wearing this, I went to the post office and somebody stopped me and said, hey, what are you wearing? And had to write it down. I mean, it gets the most compliments of anything. It takes that very familiar YSL Y DNA. It darkens it up a bit, adds in that nice tonka bean to give a little bit of a sweetness and depth. But it's still going to be that DNA. It's still going to be that clary sage and geranium mixed together with the apple. It's not as heavy as an apple as the EDP. Some people find the EDP to be the best one. That gives me a headache. So this is a nice balance with that tonka bean kind of dominating over that apple to not make it more headachy like the EDP. But I really, really enjoy this in its last 10 plus hours. It's one of the best, most mass appealing fragrances in existence. So while a lot of these people might consider, I mean, like especially frag.com enthusiasts might consider boring answers for pickups, I honestly don't think so. I think they all smell great and they all have something different going for them. Going into the next one, which again, I've heard people say this is their least favorite fragrance in the entire all fragrances, and I've heard people say they love it. I don't know how you can dislike this fragrance. Honestly, it's one of my favorite fragrances of all time. This is Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Parfum is also a very good answer, but cinnamon and benzoin balm. So this is where we kind of meld into the realm of it being similar to something else on this list. All the rest of the ones, none of them are really similar to each other, but the cinnamon in these, that's the only thing that really makes any of these fragrances similar, is the cinnamon in both of those. But this one, the cinnamon mixes together with red fruits and red pepper, and then you also put that together with a nice wallop of this sweet and resinous benzoin. You add in the tobacco from the line. It's spicy, but it's the best one from the line. It's the most wearable from the line. It's the one that can be worn by the most ages, from ages like 10 to 12 all the way up to 50. It's a fantastic fragrance. It's like cool weather in a bottle. So fall, winter, going into spring, it's fantastic. But my daughter said she smells it in high school almost every single day. And it's like, 60, 70 degrees outside. So, I mean, I guess people wear it whenever, but it's getting more and more popular. Spicebomb Infrared is fantastic. And if you have one of the other fragrances on this list, you can layer it together with that, or Angel Share, which is also on this list. So yeah, if you layer them together, it makes chef kiss. But that one lasts about 6 to 8 hours. It's really depending on the weather outside. During the cooler weather, I found that it's more around like 7 to 8 hours. But I do have to say, once you hit 5 hours, no matter what weather it is outside, it's more of a skin scent at that point in time. The EDP does make it a little bit better, like 8 to 9 hours. So yeah. Anyway, going to the next one. This one is Activated in the Heat. It's one of the best summer fragrances, no matter who you are. You could go with the original version of this, which is kind of like the Mount Rushmore of fragrances, or you could go with this one, which is my favorite from the entire house. This is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. Citrus aromatic marine amberwood. Very, very nice. It's the grapefruit from the original one, except for the original one had a little bit more of a dose of lemon. This one adds in more of those marine notes and the amberwood. It's very, very, very good, and it's activated in the heat. So as soon as you go outside, if you spray this on skin, or if your skin's hot, it will activate and it will push out even more. But if you're looking for something that's clean, fresh, has a little bit of an effervescent pop, it has the citrus tones, it has the aromatic tones, it has those marine aquatic tones, it has a little bit of everything. That's why I like the fragrance, is because it brings the best of a lot of different genres of fragrance and kind of melds them into one. And then you have that amberwood in the dry down that comes across more like a fresh amberwood, not like a warm amberwood like you get in a lot of the other ones that I've talked about. But Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense, I don't need to really talk about it much more. It's been out for a long time. If you don't know it, now you know it. It's fantastic. And that's about... I hate talking about the performance on that one, because the performance, if it's like during one of the weather that you should be wearing it for, which is like 80 to 90 degrees, it's only like 4 to 5 hours, because it's activating, but it's also lifting off your skin and pretty much going away after 4 to 5 hours. But I have had it like on cooler, rainy days during the summer. I've had it last 6 to 7. So, I mean, it all depends on what the weather is like outside. So just figure that out for yourself. Going to the next one, I just mentioned it. This is Kilian Angel Share. I'm obviously going to rebuy this shit. This is like probably, if I had to pick a favorite fragrance in my entire collection, this is it. I can smell this all day, every day. And obviously, you can't wear it during the warm weather. But, I mean, this stuff is just, it's the tits. It's so freaking good. To the point where I'm going to put my elbow on the table. I just want to sit here and I want to smell it. It's a warm, boozy cinnamon bun drink. It's unisex through and through, but it feels right being worn by a man, and it feels right being worn by a woman, and it kind of comes off differently depending on who's wearing it. But either way, it smells freaking fantastic, and literally any age can get away with it. It's not too boozy, so even if a kid wore this, like my daughter wears my clone of it, even though I told her she could wear the original, she has this clone of it in her room, and she just wears it all the time. And I mean, it smells fantastic. It's Angel Share. And there's another one that's kind of similar to it. It's Halcyon, and Soma Halcyon, and I really want to try that fragrance. Not try it, but buy that fragrance, because it's kind of like a more masculine take on this DNA. Has a little bit more spice to it. But Kilian Angel Share, I mean, you can tell I'm almost out of that. Well, I mean, it's a small bottle, but I mean, I'm going to be buying a new one pretty soon here. So this might be my favorite fresh fragrance. I think it might be. It's definitely my favorite spring fragrance. Well, I don't know. It's up there. It's my favorite. It's in my top 5 favorite spring and summer fragrances. This is Lacoste Blanc Eau Fraiche. I was saying that, but then I looked down and I was like, there's another 2 on this list that might be better, or might at least be just as good for the spring. So I don't know. But this is fantastic. I mean, you guys know I talk about it all the time. There's nothing else that smells like this fragrance. The only thing that ever comes close is Givenchy Gentleman Only Casual Chic. And that one has that gentleman only DNA in it, so it's still not the same. And this one is more effervescent, and it has more of a green edge, but nothing else smells like this. And this one, if you can tell, I mean, this is my second bottle, and this came out in 2023. And so I'm almost gone out of my second bottle. I'm going to wear this shit today. I mean, I am wearing a bunch of it too. And you want to know why you need to wear a bunch of this? Because it doesn't push out that much. It's not a terrible performer. It's kind of like on par with this, except for it doesn't activate in the heat. It's about 5 hours on average, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, spray it as many times as you want. You won't offend anybody. It is pickled ginger with citrus, and then you have this kind of ambroxan effervescence mixed together with this kind of green, watery tone. I always say it's kind of like you're walking through the woods during a windy spring day with a basket of lemon, and you just kind of smell it, and then you kind of eat some pickled ginger after. And I don't like pickled ginger, like the stuff that comes with sushi. I don't like that, but I obviously love the smell of it because I like this and I like the casual chic. But yeah, I have to say, I mean, this is like a 9.5 out of 10. I love this stuff. There's, like I said with the other fragrance that I was talking about with the Chanel, or the, not the Chanel, the Dolce & Gabbana. This one has so many layers to it that it just kind of brings different genres of fragrance together into one. It has that green, it has that fresh, it has that citrus, and it brings it all together and matches it and creates this beautiful complexion, conglomeration of fragrance, and I absolutely love it. But I'm going to get to the next one because we have 2 left and we're already at like 20 minutes, but this one I have to rebuy all the time. I had it, it's probably my first fragrance that I actually started wearing and kept wearing. This is Boss Bottled. I'm just about out of this one. But the good thing is you can get it for like 30 bucks. It's one of the best layering, like I said. Layer this with this and thank me later. And it becomes like a cinnamon apple pie. But this is like a fresh apple pie with sandalwood. It has a little bit of plum mixed in there to give a little bit of a darker fruity tone. But this is an all-season semi-gourmand that has apple, sandalwood, plum, cinnamon, but it's a fresh apple pie. That's what the fragrance is, and I know a lot of people call it an apple pie, but it's not an apple pie because apple pie to me sounds like fall and winter. This is a fresh apple pie that has a nice creamy woody tone from the sandalwood and a little bit of a dark fruity tone from the plum. It's fantastic. It's Boss Bottled. It's been out since 1990s, so I don't need to talk much more about that. The reason I have that is because it's a very easy wear fragrance, and I don't care who you are. It's great. Performance sucks nowadays, but whatever. And it is what it is. And the last one, the thing that made me have to stop in my tracks about the Lacoste is this one. Imaginary Authors Saint Julep. Saint Julep is probably the top 2 spring fragrances in my collection. This is the best Imaginary Authors fragrance out there. It's kind of like a boozy, minty creamsicle. That's what it is. It has sweet mint, tangerine, southern magnolia, bourbon, grisalva, and then the imaginary notes are sugar cube and crushed ice. But it smells like sugared bourbon if you mix it together with a bunch of mint and a sweet mint, not like a spearmint. This is almost like a vanillic mint, and so that's where it's kind of like a minty creamsicle with booze. That's what the fragrance smells like. Don't really need to talk much more about it. It only lasts about 4 to 5 hours. But doesn't really matter because it smells fantastic, and I am almost out of that. So I'm not lying to you when I say that if you see a lot of people, they're like, fragrances I will rebuy, and then the fragrance is like completely filled or like has this much missing. It's like, bro, you're lying. All of these are like at least halfway gone. So, and the only one that's not is this, and it might still be halfway gone, but it's because I purchased it like 4 months ago. But anyway, so those are my 10. Let me know some of the ones that you want to rebuy. And again, thank you to the person who came up with this idea. And again, I'll be back with another top 10 video tomorrow. Peace out.